is Susie J. Cobwebs, and today I'm going to actually do a video on how I wrote a novel. This journey of being a writer and an author is a roller coaster ride. I mean, there is a lot of obstacles and bumps all along the way, but here's a fact. Writing is hard. And if anybody tells you different, they are wrong. If this is your passion, and this is something that you enjoy, by all means, keep going. Keep working at it. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be discouraging. Keep working at it. You have to set your insecurities aside and just write. Honestly, this is the best advice someone can give you. And if this is something that you enjoy, keep working at it. I know your first time is not going to be perfect. My first time wasn't perfect, but this will take time, practice, and dedication. Just like any other hobby or any other job that you are out there, you have to take it time, patience, and you got to get the experience behind you to get better. I know that you're going to have a lot of insecurities when you are writing. I get it. I have a lot of insecurities through the whole process of writing a novel. But you got to get through them to get to the main goal of your success. Now that main goal, that end goal is to be a published author, correct? How are you going to get there? Do you think that book is just going to go, boop? I think I'm going to put your name on my hard work and I'm going to publish it. No. That's not going to work that way. You have to put in the hard work. You have to put in the time, the effort, the rewrites and everything so you can have that published author status. And that's where our goal is. Let me get right down to how I wrote my novel. This works for me. We're starting off small, just like baby steps, so we can get to our end goal. This is a journey that we will work through together. Check out the writing sprints that I have on this channel. This actually starts out by getting you started in writing and creative and everything. Just learn the fundamentals of writing. You will get better. I promise. With my book being published in the middle of 2021, I have all the blood, sweat, tears all over my pages. My personal life has done a 360 with a plethora of ways since I started writing my first book. And this book is a young adult, the first book of a 4-book series. It's called Betrayal in the First Degree. This was a perfect opportunity to write down all my raw emotions that I've went through, dealt with, everything. Even writing therapeutically was a great idea. This is something that I incorporated in some of my books. And this is what grabs the reader's attention. This only helps in some genres and certain scenarios. This information is nice and it has to be used when you will need that jolt of inspiration. It took me over 13 years to raise my baby until it was ready to fly on its own. With this field, you need to have patience. You have to be able to handle rejection. There are many different ways and styles how you can write a book. I have searched through podcasts and webinars and YouTube videos. I mean, I was searching everywhere for this rule book. I needed strategic rules of how you write a book. I mean, it was to the point where Google couldn't even help me. So I took this, my hands, my fingers, all into my own hands. I took my reins and my thoughts in my head, and I plastered them on paper. This was a time for me to express what I really see when I look at things around the world, around me. I would like to tell you how I learned to write a book. You have to figure out your own routine and how you feel more comfortable to see how the characters come alive. If you look at some of my other videos, not only am I doing things with you guys and participating in the writing sprints, but this is a way to start getting your brain to creatively think of different types of things that mesh well together. What if is the ultimate question. That's just an exercise of being a writer. Like, for example, brainstorm your thoughts on paper. You may have squiggly lines and crossed out items and abbreviation issues and no punctuation, and it's just a garbled mess. You go back to your garbled mess about a couple days later, sift through, you may have to get a sifter, just kidding, sift through all the remnants, what you can use, and what is left, what caught your attention. Now, you can see about maybe 3 to 5 things that you wrote about, maybe different areas, maybe different ideas. Could you put them in a story? Could you do a novella? Could you do a standalone? Or could this be a series of a book? This is limitless. You can do whatever you want. You can write whatever you want. It is out there. There is a spot for everyone. And any type of writing that you want to do. Once you get that main idea down of what you want your book to be, now you need to figure out some subplots. What's going to go on around these main characters, around the main idea? Depending on your genre, you may have just maybe 2 subplots. But you don't want to overpopulate the subplots with the main idea. You don't want the readers to lose sight of what is really going on in the whole book. Now, once you've planned this all out, now this is the time where you can write anything. You want details. You want anything that sparks your interest. Could potentially be in your book. And what I'm talking about trees, cars, caves, the neighbor down the street. What does the characters look like? Where do they live? What city or town do they live in? Or maybe what does the planet look like? This is the time where you keep adding and adding details to each individual section. If you had to add them to this section, if you have to add them to this section, if you have to add them, that's okay. Just keep building up your document. Build it up, build it up, build it up. This is what you want. Keep building. This is the process you want. Just build up details. If you thought of a dialogue that would be best for this particular situation, write it, put it in that specific document that you have. Or if you thought about the, okay, so is she going to go with him or is he going to go with another girl, or is he gonna go with another guy? If you know the answer to that question and you want to write about it, by all means write about it. Then put that section that you wrote about it in your huge document. Now when you get that whole document all done, I'm not saying done, when you get that whole document kind of like a huge document, now you want to put these parts in chapters. So it's going to be easier for you to keep adding and to get it to flow more. We're not flowing yet. To add more of spark, conflict. What if you think that this person is going to go over here and then wait a minute, no, you can't because you got to go over here. Like, it is so many different variables and it's all going to come out of your brain. So once you added these all in chapters, and then you can kind of go back whenever you are getting things in place, add them in the certain chapter. Once you feel that you have enough to work with, then we're going to do some hard editing. This first time, you want to make sure that you have pretty much everything under control. You have to get everything situated. Remember, you got to have a little bit of conflict. You got to have a little bit of what if, because remember, you have main ideas, you have subplots, you have all different kinds of extras that you want to put in here, because you want to keep these readers engaged. You want to keep these readers reading to the end of the book, or even potentially to the next book or to the next book. Once you have all of this document set down in chapter, you want to go through this and you want to make sure that it flows properly. And what I mean with that is, okay, what is the first sentence of this book? So how are we going to start this novel? Are we going to start it by the female character getting hurt? Are we starting it with the male character winning the lottery? How are we starting this? Are we talking about the alien that's just coming off the planet? So you want to start with this as you are going to read it. So you want to make sure that everything flows with each chapter. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so on. Once you are completed with that content editing that you're going to do, when you go through that hard editing and you think that it's going to be okay, you deserve a break. You've worked so hard up until this point. Keep up the great work. You did great. You wrote a book. I know you're going to think this is crazy, but give your eyes, your brain, your fingers some vacation time from this book. Don't go back to this manuscript for about a month or so. Even if you have to set it into a file on your computer and not touch it, or if you have to print it out and stick it in an envelope and stick it under your bed, I don't care what you do with it. But don't look at it for about a month, maybe even 2. Hey, if you have time and you have patience, maybe 3. Who cares? This is the point where you want to give your mind a rest from those characters. Try to start another story with those guidelines. You may have to consider this a little bit of multitasking, but this is going to work out to your benefit in the long run. So after those 2-3 month hiatus that you are going to have with not reading your book, get it out. You may need a step ladder if you put it on top of the closet. Just kidding. But this is where you need to, again, edit your manuscript. This is when you have that fresh set of brain power that you weren't constantly reading it over and over. So you knew in your head what it said. It's not what the paper said. So now we have a fresh set of eyes, fresh brain, and we're going to get that manuscript back out. And we are going to read it. We are going to make sure that it flows properly. The punctuation is good. Abbreviations are where it needs to be. Basically, you are going to massacre your writing. Even if this means that you have to rewrite this 15 million more times. You need to massacre your writing. Make sure all your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, and the content flows in a good manner, making sure you don't forget anything in its path. This is also a time where you can make the last minute changes before it gets sent off to an editor or a publisher, or if you're going to self-publish. You want to make sure that your manuscript is as best as you can make it. This is hard work, and it will polish it up so the editor can spend more time on the content editing or the grammar where said novel or manuscript is lacking. There are many different ways you could write a novel. I hope this helped you. This is a place where you set forth the attitude, solitude, and time and devotion to see your baby flourish into a strong plant. And now you're going to be able to be marketable for the rest of the world. And this will give you time so you can expand and let the world hear. This is the time where the world can really hear your voice radiating off of these pages. I think that's a great idea. If you like these types of videos, if you have any other ideas that we could put forth into writing a novel or writing manuscripts or anything writing related, write them in the comments below so we can talk about it face to face. And we can have these types of journey participation videos. If you like these videos, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and till the next time, love you bunches!